Okay, when we have variables, we can use these tiles to give us an idea of how we should balance our equations. With this equation, when you see the blue tile, that represents x. One of the yellow tiles represents 1. If I have a red tile, that's minus or negative 1. So a red tile is a negative 1, a yellow tile is a positive 1. Alright? So at this point I have x equals 5. So if I have x equals 5 right here, what if I were to take out 3 from my x? So if I were to put 3 red tiles on top of my x here, this would now be x minus 3. Alright, I can put the red tiles here to the side so you see it. So that's my x minus 3. Remember, this is a negative 1 or minus 1. So remember, what I do to one side, I'm going to put this little remember here. What I do to one side, I must do to the other. Alright? So that means what I do to one side of the equal sign, I must do to the other side of the equal sign. I took and subtracted 3 here. I need to do it on this side also for my original x equals 5. So I need to do that on the other side as well. So if I have a positive 1 and I have a negative 1, that cancels out each other. So I can just go ahead and put it on top of my yellow. And what happens then? I'm subtracting that. So my new equation now is x minus 3 equals 2. Alright? So we could, at this point, we can now see, well, what happens? I need to still get rid of this negative 3. We're going to go into negative land if we do that here. Actually, no, we won't. Because what we're going to do now is, so we still need to isolate this x. I have a negative 3 here on the side where x wants to be. X wants to be all by itself. X wants to say, hey, I just want to be all by myself. Get out of my neighborhood, number 3. So what do we do to get rid of 3? He wants to go and visit 2 over here. Well, we have to do the opposite operation. What's the opposite of minus 3? Add 3, or a positive 3. That cancels out that. 3 minus 3 is 0. But remember, what I do to one side, I must do to the other. The other side of the equal sign, that gets a positive 3. So now, I can bring down the x here. I can bring down the equal sign. And what's 2 plus 3? 5. My answer is x equals 5. Alright? Now these little tiles here are just sometimes just for you to move your x's and your numbers around to see if they help you. Let's do something else. If we have, let me see if we have 2 x's here. And then I have 8 on this side. So you put 8 yellows on this side. And I have 2 X tiles on this side. So at this point, my equation is 2 times x. I can just put 2x. That means the same as 2x equals 8. Well, I have a problem now. I need to isolate my x. I haven't isolated the x yet. X does not want to be glommed onto 2. It wants to be all by itself on that side. Now this means 2 times x. What's the opposite of multiplication? Division. What do I have to do now? I have to divide this by 2. If I divide this by 2, I have to do that to the other side as well. So if I get rid of this 1x, I have 1x. X has that imaginary 1 symbol in front of it, so it's 1x, or just simply x. If I divide this in 2, I'm getting rid of those. So I can get rid of those, and now I just have 4 left. So if I do, does that make sense? Yes. If I take 8, I divide it by 2, I end up with 4. Rewrite it. X equals 4. I have 4 yellows left. I have 1 x left. So I isolated my x. It's happy. It's all by itself on one side of the equal sign. And it equals 4.